Hey everyone, it's I Mega right here, and I'm gonna have to say this right here and now before we get started. I'm not feeling so well, and Amanda, if you're watching this, please, for the life of me, stop asking for live streams or something because honestly, though, I'm not really feeling anything about it today right now. Mostly because I have a headache, and what's more, I've been having this headache since I think about a day or two right now. And I think it's only fitting I'll try my best to do as much as I can while doing this Magical Girl podcast. And mainly because, well, today's Friday and I don't want to disappoint any of my fans out there. So if that bothers you, I do apologize for that. But there's really nothing else I can do though. So yeah, I really can't stress this enough though. I don't know what's causing this headache though, because every time I try walking around and such nowadays, it's just this right here for a few days now. I've been almost collapsing down the stairs and almost like that, and honestly though, I'm trying my best to rest up before anything though. Even with that said, however, I still hope and pray that, Amanda, that you don't ask for too many live streams because I'm not feeling any good right now. I mean, I don't know if it's because I'm having a terrible aneurysm again, or I just don't know what's going on with me right now. But even with that said, however, I'm gonna do this Magical Girl podcast and hopefully rest before I do the next 3 episodes that will be done for this month of the Magical Girl podcast. So yeah, that's all I have to say for that. So, but with that said, however, I can safely say now the following video is now another Magical Girl series. And one that, like with Mermaid Melody beforehand, this was actually one of the more underrated shows that I barely hear people come across on that though. Now, unlike Mermaid Melody, at least this one got recognition, but it's also worth pointing out that it's really one of those anime that I have yet to tell to people that this is another one of those shows that I think that even a Magical Girl fan could get into if you want to get into it right now though. The show itself that's actually has been on my radar, based on the manga by the same name by Makoi no, Go. And honestly though, that name should be well, honestly though, the name Makoto Ano is really one of those prolific manga writers that actually is the wife of Hideaki Anno, the guy who gave us Evangelion and some other Scooby Gainax anime. Unfortunately, while I have seen in some of Gainax's work, though, this one was actually co-animated by that studio, even though this was animated by Studio Pierrot, the same guys who gave us Yu Yu Hakusho, Naruto, Bleach, and Black Clover, and so many others. Yeah, for why I'm slurring so much is mostly because my head hurts, and I'm not doing any live streams. I'm trying my best to stay as maintained as I can, and I'm trying my best to do whatever I can to maintain that, though. So as I was saying, though, Sugar Sugar Rune is one of those anime that I've actually started watching around November, but like Mermaid Melody beforehand, I'm nowhere near done this year's show. It's not as long as that show is, thank God, but it's also worth pointing out this is one of those cases where it's really one of those lengths that I'm trying my best to do what I can. I thought I could binge through it, though, but no, apparently I didn't have enough chances to binge through this series either. This lasted for 51 episodes, and even the manga itself has lasted for quite several chapters, though. I have to fully admit, though, I knew none of this well going in, though. Sugar Sugar Rune is one of those shows that, while the art style does look too pretty for some people to get into, though, I still enjoy what they have, though, so maybe I'll find some ground in here. But let's talk about Sugar Sugar Rune and see where it takes us from here. Sugar Sugar Rune is basically tells the story about two young witches, Vanilla and Chocolate, both of whom are both competing into getting who gets the most hearts into the human world. While these crystal hearts are really something that they've gotten into themselves to find out, though, it's really here where we have to say, though, that the hearts themselves actually have a little more cost to them than what meets the eye, though. See, usually you can buy things with these hearts, but it's really worth pointing out that these hearts are really supposed to be hearts that you need to keep instead of just spending it all at once, though. Unfortunately, though, while this does seem like they have a lot of things going for it as is, though, it's here where we meet our two girls going to the human world to get to the captured hearts of these here boys, while still going into a middle school, into disguising themselves as humans, though. While they do their best to do whatever they can with the hearts, though, along the way there are some lessons thrown in there. Typical stuff for your own magical girl show. And honestly, me too, healthy. I'm on the subject matter, though. The one who gets the most hearts is going to be crowned queen, of their own magical world, though. Unfortunately, though, this actually means that both the girls, Chocolate and Vanilla, both of them have to compete in who gets the most hearts, and whoever gets the most hearts will be crowned queen. Now, I haven't seen all of this here show, so if you've seen this here series, I don't want anyone spoiling what happens for me. Because I started watching this show in November, and I haven't gotten back to it until, like, last week or so. Yeah, I think this may be just because I'm not really feeling any good, and whenever I'm sick, I just don't feel like I'm watching too much on what's on my phone or anything on my devices. But maybe I brought this upon myself, though. Now, I'm not saying I don't like Sugar Rune. I mean, are you kidding me? One thing's for sure, though, while the show itself does have a lot of things going for it as is, though, it's worth pointing out that there are some little comebacks. So let's talk about the characters for a sec. First, there's Chocolat, the one in the pink here. And while she is known to be, well, you're gonna find this pretty funny purloin, while she is pretty much a Leo of the group, though, and also she's really known to have her temper every now and then, though, she's not afraid to show what she can be, though. She usually says, "I'll whip your butt," if she does something that's gonna be a little cruel or some stuff like that, though. Though she does have a sweetheart. Heard by all things considered. No pun intended by the sweetheart, but still. And I have to say, though, when watching the show, Chocolate might be my favorite out of the two here. And no, that's not because she's wearing pink. I think it's mostly because her temper usually gets to me too, though. I usually get tempered whenever someone gives me a hard time or something, so there you have it right there. But honestly, though, I'd be hit or miss if I didn't mention that Vanilla reminds me of my younger self. Now, Vanilla, the one in the violet right there, is also the other witch that's competing, though. Unlike Chocolat, while they're polar opposites, Vanilla usually gets the most hearts, but she's also pretty much the sweet one of the two. And it's really worth pointing out that she does have her own beat down in some source here, though. There is also Rockin' Robin, who I'm guessing is supposed to be like a mentor for the girls, but really though, I think the most I got from him is that they just throw that in there because there's always some kind of harem going on in the background. No joke. If you watch the show, he's usually going crazy over having these girls go crazy over them, though. Like, more than usual, though. I'm surprised that they didn't make this in Shonen series, but honestly, it's demographic shoujo, so at least there's that, though. There were other characters, like, say, the Familiars. If you're not familiar with the Familiars, basically, they're like some kind of animal mascot that comes around here, though. If in Japan, anything to judge by, they usually use little creatures to do whatever they can to have their own setting, though. Now, it's worth pointing out that when watching this show, the Familiars, though, don't come in until the second episode. Yeah, I say second episode because in case you haven't seen the show, there are 51 episodes in one season. So, just like Soul Eater here afterwards, though, they did just that, though. As you can tell from there, though, there are two Familiars that stick around with the girls. Duke, the frog, and as well as Blanca, the and I have to say, though, their designs are pretty cute. Well, I say their designs, but really I think the Frog Duke may be someone I could get into, and someone that I don't mind, though. He's really more laid back than Blanca, though Blanca really acts more like a sweetheart than anything, though. And honestly, though, I think it's really true about what anything comes to me, though. Though it's worth pointing out that if it weren't for the mascots, we probably wouldn't get a story, though. Getting back to the characters, however, we also got some other characters along the way, like Pierre, who happens to be, well, I say he's really all good looking for the looks, though, but he comes off as pretty cold-hearted at times while still being intellectual and charismatic to the characters, though. There's not much I can say about him because I haven't seen all of this show, so you're gonna have to go with whatever I have to say on the table here. Then there's also some other characters that we meet along the way, like, say, Rika. Yeah, Rika is really one of those characters I haven't explored yet too much, but from what I can tell, it's reliable, so I'm just gonna go stick with that. I'm sure pretty people would find that bland, but hey, at least there's something about that. Then there's also some other boys that we do meet, like say Akira, who happens to believe in aliens. Not a lot of people take him seriously, but hey, I think what might get to you is how much he really can't get enough of it, these aliens. Then there's also some other characters we also meet along the way, like maybe someone like say Hiroshi, who happens to be a dog that also choke a lot of times though. Now I must stress enough though, it doesn't really hurt my case when it comes right down to it though. I mean, he is a pretty cute dog, and honestly, I get a kick out of him whenever he does show up though. He's pretty much a pretty good dog by all accounts. Maybe it's because of my dog, but I'm all for having a dog character by any means though. But even with that said, however, there's a lot of things to know about it when it comes right down to it though. Like I said, they have to collect these here hearts, which I'm not sure if the emojis came up before or afterwards, but all of the hearts have their own set color to it though. Like the yellow hearts, or in the Japanese dub, they call them P hearts. No, I'm not shitting you, that's really what they call them. I'm guessing because it's yellow. I guess you can go with any though. And they were usually worth 5 and cur. So, yeah, I'm just gonna tell you how much they all cost in order for you guys to understand if you ever want to watch the show for yourself. Okay, so the orange hearts, however, are 300 like, on cure. And honestly, though, it's really worth pointing out that this is definitely one case where I have to fully admit it's really orange in its own way though. Then there's also the green heart, which costs 250 in cure, which stands for friendship. The pink heart, with it costing 1000 in cure, is the one that costs with a budding love. Purple heart, which stands for 2500 a cure, is also one that about lust. Yeah, lust with two 10-year-old girls, huh? I'm not sure what Japan's age restrictions are, so you can find out yourself if you want to, but I'm not reading into that. Then there's also the blue heart, which costs 3000 a cure, which means respect. And we also got to the red heart, 5000 in cure, and it's the passionate heart. You know, I know some people are gonna say that these color hearts are really more emojis, but come on now. I use these heart emojis all the time for my girlfriend, so I can definitely say, though, I kind of get a kick out of that, though. There is the rainbow heart, however, but really, that rainbow heart's really known for amusement and doesn't really... I didn't really see all the series, so I don't know what's it like anyway, so... Oh, you can write your own conclusions for yourself if you want to there. Then we have two opposite hearts that have, of course, black heart, which stands for hate and jealousy. Yeah, I wouldn't go too much into that, but from what I've heard, though, Vanilla gets the black heart, and I'm gonna say that instead of being a sweetheart, she probably would act more like a tough love kind of way. Yeah, I had to make a statement here somehow. Then there's also a white heart, which stands for innocence. Yeah, the black and white hearts don't really stand for much of anything really, though, but from what I can tell, though, they are pretty neat in their own way, though. But there is another thing I have to point out to you. Aside from the hearts, there are some things that do something with this year's show. I mentioned before that the show itself is pretty with showing lessons, and honestly, this series, even in spite of it all itself, though, I still think it's pretty good in spite of what it has to offer, though. So how did you know about the series itself, though? Let's talk about the technical aspects. I think one thing that really gets me to watch the show more is that when I watch one episode around nighttime in November, I started watching another episode the next day before I had to work, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I think what really stuck with me was the end song. So, now the ending song, there are two of them, but since I've only seen about, like, over 20 episodes so far, I've only seen the first ending, so I'm just gonna stick with that. It's really a beautiful song, and honestly, though, I would put it on for you guys to listen to, but considering that my YouTube channel won't allow me to do any clips, that's kind of a problem. Then again, this is a podcast, so I don't think I'm gonna see much of that, though, but that depends how many people use clips for themselves. Then there's also, the thing that I want to talk about most, the anime. And the animation itself, while yes, it does look girly and cutesy in some kind of way, it's definitely a 2000s anime, if that's anything to judge by, but I think what really gets to me about these characters that memorize them really more is their eyes. Seriously, though. In case you couldn't tell, these eyes are big. Like, more big than I thought they were. A bad thing, but jeez Louise, I think that's what really got me to watch the anime more because of how invested I was to see them do this though. Now, while I admit, yes, I have seen, I think the only like say how much as I could though, but I can't want to watch anything right now, mostly because again, my head is hurting me, my aneurysm's probably coming back, and I don't want to stress myself any further than that. I want to rest before or anything else though, but still, that's really what you get for having me around though. It goes without saying though. And I'd be here this again if I didn't mention this though, but I really have to say though, I think what also got to me is that I'm surprised Studio Puro worked on this show. I mean, I really shouldn't be surprised really because Studio Puro, in case you didn't know though, they have done a ton of magical girl shows. Some of them were original television shows, while others started out as the manga though. But even with that said, however, I don't think they're gonna do any more magical girl shows so far because from what I've heard though, this was their last one. And the rest of their anime that they have is consists of other stuff that they've worked on. Like I said, they've worked on a bunch of anime. Bleach, Naruto, Yu Yu Hakusho, Black Clover, and probably so many others and the like though. And I think what really gets to me is that I actually wanted to see more of this show while I had though. Maybe if it were out a bit longer, maybe I would have gotten the chance to, but hey, I think that's what happens though. But honestly, I think there's only one thing I could say about this show that, again, like Mermaid Melody, it didn't have an English dub. Now, I will say though, like Miriam said before me, I really don't care if they had an English dub or not, but it's really sad when you realize that if this show didn't take as long as it did, but probably would have had a lot more room to breathe though. But honestly though, unlike say, hey, Mermaid Melody, this is the one case where they didn't have an English dub. Yeah, I looked it up, and it turns out that there was no English dub made, and what's more, it was dubbed into other languages too, like French, Italian, Spanish, and so many others along the way though. I don't have a problem with them dubbing into different languages, but it is kind of sad when people who don't ever know how to speak English, or in this case, read English subtitles, they have to try their best to get around that and say what the hell are they saying without the English translations there. Because, let's be honest though, I don't think anyone's able to speak fluent Japanese unless you're actually bilingual, or in this case, know all your languages. I wouldn't say that Sugar Sugar Rune is a series that everyone's gonna think about proudly though, but hey, I was really in for seeing what they could do with them though. Yeah, where they put their hearts is usually in their old lockets. Like Vanilla has a diamond or crystal prism for a locket, and as well as Chocolate, who happens to have a heart though. I thought at first this was gonna be like a cooking magical girl anime, but hey, they're witches and they do something with a twist and turn. So I guess that's I have to say here though. I would tell you more, but really, I don't really have that much to say about this show because I haven't seen all of it yet. And what's more, I really need to rest my head. I'm not feeling so good. And I would do a live stream, but Amanda, please, for the life of me, stop asking about live streams. What's more, you don't even use them for moderation purposes, though. You just use them for roleplay purposes. Like, if you're gonna do that, fine, but do it on someone else's channel, though. As for me, though, I just don't feel good right now. And hopefully by the end, thank you all so much for listening to this podcast, and hopefully when I come back, my head will start to rest, stop itself from being aneurysm, though. I still have 3 more Magical Girl shows yet to go, guys. So until then, thank you all so much for listening. And if you like this video, please click like and subscribe for more content. And as always, stay flamingo-tastic. See ya.